Welcome to the Dan Stevens Show. It's times like this that I'm delighted that I have a podcast to vent on. I guess I'm venting at you guys. You are my ventees, I suppose, for this particular episode anyway, because I'm going to tell you a story. It's just going to be one story about something that happened 2 nights ago. And I'm just going to tell it to you exactly how it happened. Because when it started happening, I was like, right, I need to take in every detail here of what's going on. Because it's not in my control. And I need to remember this. And I need to tell my listeners and viewers about this. So, I made a spontaneous decision to go to the cinema on Tuesday night. So it's now Thursday. And I never know what's out in the cinema. I just search. I go, films out at the moment. Liffey Valley, which is less than a 10-minute drive from me. It's a nice cinema. And I found that, and I don't like to look at the reviews or anything. I just find one that looks like it might be good, and I go. Usually I'll go during the day because I go by myself. And by the way, I'm wearing a black hoodie and a grey cap at the moment. I purposely wore the clothes that I wore to the cinema that night for this podcast, just to really be in the mood, to kind of recreate what was happening. Plus, I did wear black to the cinema on purpose. I just like to blend in to the chair, kind of. Why? I don't know. I do know why. Because I have an Illuminous hoodie that I wore to the cinema before. It's a Wild West Country Fest hoodie. Totally green, Illuminous, like a highlighter. I was in the cinema, I wore that by accident to the cinema. I was like a phone. It looked like a phone was sitting on the chair, It was just, I could tell it was annoying people. I couldn't tell, actually. I was like, am I glowing? I didn't know. Anyway, that's besides the point. So, what I do is, and I don't know if anyone else does this when they go to the cinema now, is I go online, and it's like a plane now, the cinema, because there's a seating plan, and in this particular cinema, there is 5 different levels. So it goes from €7.99 up to like €12.99 for a standard seat, up to a recliner, premium, whatever. And of course, what I do is I book the cinema ticket not too long before the movie's on, like a few hours, see if it's empty, and then I pay for the cheap seat. And when I get to the cinema, I go to the best seat. Simple. It's a loophole. It probably won't last long. They'll probably find a way to combat it now. I don't know, because on Tuesday night the cinema was busy. I wasn't expecting it. And I left it just until... So, I was late, but I was early to the cinema, if you know what I mean. 10 minutes past the start time, which leaves about 5 minutes until the movie starts. 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm hoping everybody is seated so I can walk into the cinema and look around and go, okay, I'm not going to be disturbed if I take that seat. So when I walked into the cinema, screen 8 it was, top left was pretty empty. I said, lovely, I'll go right up in the corner. Right up in the top corner. It was about 30 rows. It was a big screen. Sat up there. 6 or 7 empty seats to my left hand side. I'm in the corner. I go to the corner so nobody can sit on that side. I'm very antisocial now that I think of it. Anyway, I want to be in control of as much as I can be. I don't want someone sitting beside me that's annoying me. But unfortunately, I wish there was just 2 walls beside me. But anyway, I sit down and the movie starts and I'm like, oh, lovely. Top corner's a nice seat, but you're at a bit of an angle, but it was fine. Wasn't the cheapest seat, wasn't the dearest, it was fine. 5 minutes in, it starts, and I see a gang of like 6 people walking in, and I'm like, oh no, and they're coming up the stairs, and I'm like, oh Jesus. Next thing you know, 2 of them peel off and go to like row C or something. Then there's 4 coming towards the top, and then two more peel off into like row H, and I'm like, lovely, there's only 2 left. But of course they sit beside me, and it's a young fella in a tracksuit and a hoodie, just totally as covered up as he can be. It looked like he was at a protest, and his girlfriend. Now, immediately when he sat down beside me, there was a smell of hash, like strong, and I was like, oh no. But I can take that, that's fine. I can handle that. He was talking a little bit. I just went. You try to make a noise that you hope that he might hear, but that he can't respond to. Or you kind of do a little one of them. He's sitting there, you kind of go, just to let him know that you heard him talking. Also, he's on the phone immediately, and it's glowing in my eyes. So I'm annoyed now. The movie has started. I'm annoyed immediately. I went from being very happy. I cheated the seat, you know. Remember, I'm in the wrong seat number here as well. So I don't really have a legal leg to stand on. Not legal, but I can't really say much because I could be in their seat for all I know. But when you're in the wrong seat and you're in a higher price tier, you can't really say much. You just have to kind of... That's why I wore this as well. So, like, if the stewards come in, I won't be, like, standing out. I just nip in, nip out. So there's a strong smell of hash or weed. I don't know. Probably a mixture. And I'm sitting there. Finally, he puts the phone away. I gave enough subtle... you know, to let him know, I think. A few of them ones. A couple of little looks with a semi-angry face. You just want to be on that line of reacting without getting a reaction from him. So he's sitting there anyway. Next thing, I get into the film a bit. It was Obsession I went to see, by the way. I'm not going to give anything away about that movie, but I will say it's a horror movie. It gets very tense and there's jump scares, right? That's all I'm going to say because it's relevant to the story. So I'm sitting there and very tense moment. It's very quiet in the movie. Next thing I hear, it's a can being opened. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. Anyway, it was a bit funny. It's fine. I don't mind that. So I tried to take a look at what the can was, just out of curiosity. I was like, I wonder, does a young fella like that drink Diet 7-Up or what's he, you know. I couldn't quite see it though. Anyway, he's settled in now. There's a pong of hash off him and his missus, and it's fine though. I'm used to it now. I have adjusted to the smell. Watching the film, I'm enjoying it. You know, getting the scares, whatever. He gets the phone out again, and I'm just like... Sometimes when you're in the cinema by yourself as well, me personally, things happen where there's funny moments, or there's some moments that kind of bond people in the cinema, and, you know, I was like... A couple of things happened, and I was like... kind of half chancing that I might bond with him, and it's, you know... just to try and stop myself being so unhappy sitting beside this couple. He's... Let me just tell you, he's not watching much of it. He has ADD or whatever that thing is where you can't stop looking at your phone even for like 10 minutes. He has that because he's taking it out, scrolling mindlessly, doing that, and then he'll put it back, and you know. So what I did was, he keeps taking out the phone. Obviously, it's in the cinema, it's glowing, and he's sitting there. So I went like, and I wanted to give him a signal that I knew what was going on. So I went like this. I was wearing this cap, and I went like this. Put it on that way so I could block out and I wanted to block out the phone anyway. It was annoying me, like, so I tilt my head like that and I block him off. So he's sitting there. He must have seen this. He must have seen what was going on. But I had him blocked out. It's fine. And I checked in. The phone would be gone then, and then I'll put my hat back on normal. Sit back in my seat, and then the phone didn't come out for the last, you know. But what kept happening was, every time there was a tense moment, he'd pop another can, and I was like, wait a minute, this happened until he had like 6 cans or something, and it didn't sound like a big can. It wasn't like a Heineken can or a Guinness can. It didn't have that depth to the surge of when you open it. You know the way it goes. It wasn't one of them. It was more of a. So I was like, "What is this man drinking?" So I look over and I see it, a can of Wicked Blue WKD. This man is drinking on a drinking session in the cinema beside me. Smell a hash off him. He must have missed the first half of the film because he wasn't watching it. He was on his phone. My head is wrecked. Eventually, I did about halfway through the film, the movie, got him to stop because I made enough grunting noises and like noises of general disappointment that he copped on. But sure, he was drunk and high as a kite. I'd say if you asked him the next day what was that movie about, he'd be like, I don't know, I can't remember. Was I at a movie? Probably what he's saying. What's the point? Like, does he go to the pub and watch movies on his phone? Is that how he works? Goes to the cinema and drinks, then goes to the pub and watches movies probably. That's probably the type of fella you're dealing with. And it just like, he was young, I know you can say that, but I was young as well before and I still wouldn't do that. I'd have to cop on not to do that. And him with a girlfriend, good looking girl as well, her whole life ahead of her. He'd want to sort himself out. Anyway, I did take a couple of pictures of this guy's aftermath of when he was drinking, because I looked at the seat next to me where he was sitting. I was like, how, first of all, the amount of rubbish he left there, and he drank like 6 cans. She might have had a couple of them, I don't know. Maybe I'm the fool. Maybe I should be bringing drink in there with me and whatnot. But again, I didn't have a leg to stand on because I was in the wrong seat, so I was kind of stuck, Cans of Blue Wicked though, that's a new thing, and I'm actually tempted to try them. Thing about these cans as well, they weren't even cold. You could see by them that they weren't cold. It's just unbelievable. I'm drinking warm Blue Wicked in the cinema. Oh god. Yeah, so that's the story. Another, it just taught me. First of all, I was like, before this guy came in, I was really optimistic. I was like, the cinema's back, because anything that reminds me of the 90s, I get behind it and it makes me happy. I'm like, this is like the 90s. When I'm in a city, I always think, could this be timeless, or is it modernized to where it's just not nice anymore? Like the buildings, does it look like is it basically, is it, I always like, I can sense nostalgia over dystopia. I prefer nostalgia over dystopia. I'm that type of person. Maybe it's quite boring, I don't know, but anything that gives me nostalgia that's still around now, I'm like, oh yeah. I don't know, maybe there's some trauma there. I find timelines for me are like a thing now. Since my brother passed away in 2023, I always think, if I see like, for instance, I watched the Man United Chelsea Champions League final of 2009, and I was thinking, he was here then. I wasn't even thinking of what we were doing. I was just like, he was here then. Like, I wonder how he was. What were we doing then? Because we were best pals. And then if something's from like 2016 or something, a documentary or whatever it is, talking about something that happened in 2016, 2017, I'm like, yeah, I remember him then. I always think of the timelines of pre and post my brother, which is, I don't know if that happens to other people that have been through something similar. If you've lost someone close to you, I don't know if it's a trauma response, what it is, but anyway, that's the way my mind works, and especially now, I always think fondly of the past, and I don't think that's a reflection on external things. I think it's in us to look at life like that because of something that's happened to us, where we are projecting our own view on stuff onto the external. I don't think it's the other way around. Anyway, I don't want to get too deep about that. One more mini story for you before I go. By the way, please can you follow on Spotify and rate 5 stars if you've listened this far, if you're enjoying it. This is obviously a solo episode. I have guests on now every Tuesday. I'm getting into the pattern of that. I've been doing a lot of stand-up comedy and a lot of travelling lately, so there's sometimes there's a few solo episodes in a row, but I'm trying to get into the pattern of a guest every Tuesday and me every Friday. So there's always going to be 2 episodes a week, and my ultimate aim is 1 guest and 1 solo episode a week. So that's the format you're going to be seeing from now on. There's a buy me a coffee link in the episode description as well, to buy coffees for the guests or to just make a contribution to this creation, whatever it is. I'm always trying to expand things, so and I will nonetheless. But if you want to help with that, that's great. So another little mini story. It's not even a story, it's a moment more than anything. A highly embarrassing moment for me that I had earlier on today, and I was lethargic this morning. It's now Thursday afternoon. This morning I felt lethargic, and I said, you know what, I'll go for a walk up to the shop, Super Value Shopping Centre, and I will get some milk and a croissant, just a little boost. I needed milk anyway to make a coffee. And I'm leaving the supermarket. Like, usually the charity people stand outside, so you can go either side of them, to get away from them. Because if something's not really close to me, I don't donate, okay? Sorry. Just the way it is. And I don't like forceful charity people for some reason. I just like my own space. Like, if I want to donate to the charity, I'll walk over. So, thank you. Can I have 2 minutes of your time? No. Sorry. But anyway, these people are in the they're in the lobby, and it's very intense because I only had like 6 foot to my left, and the door is there, and they're in the corner, and it's real intense. But somebody is talking to them, and there's another woman there, and she's like, "Oh, how are you, sir?" It was Polio Survivors Ireland, and I made a very distasteful joke, and I don't think I can go back to that supermarket again for a while after it, just in case they're there, because it was very distasteful. So I'm walking out of the supermarket, 2 litres of milk and a croissant. Polio Survivors Ireland charity in the lobby, and as I'm walking past, I say, Jesus, I didn't think polio was that dangerous of a sport. Now, she did not laugh. She did not laugh. She goes, yeah, it's actually a very serious disease. And I was like, oh, sorry about that. Now, what had happened was, when I saw polio, I thought of like measles. I thought it was like a regular, a few spots on you or something, or a bit of a chesty cough and a few spots. I don't know. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was like measles. I thought it was just like a preventable. But I should have thought more about it. As I say, I was lethargic. I was like not thinking straight. Trying to be funny. My ego. I don't know what it was. Hungry as well. And then I looked it up. It's a very serious disease. Polio. Shout out to any polio victims, survivors. Shout out to that charity. I can't go up to the supermarket again now for a while. In fact, I might have to leave the country after that. So embarrassed when I looked up what it was and what it said. Oh my God. Just need to keep my mouth shut sometimes, I mean, how many times do I have to learn? But anyway, I thought I'd share that, which is I just enjoy. It helps me to try and lighten the load of these idiotic moments with you guys. So I appreciate that. I appreciate your ears on this one and your eyes if you're still listening to the episode. In other news, one more little story for you. I don't know how long this has been going on, but one other thing just popped into my mind. I was watching. I'm fascinated for some reason by old footage of the 9/11 Twin Towers disaster in New York. All the amateur footage, and I'm on YouTube yesterday. And the way my algorithm works is that stuff comes up like that. Everybody's algorithm does that. So it was rare footage from the Hudson River of the morning of 9/11. And this footage was, it was a boat. I'd say like 20 people could fit in the boat or something like that, floating along the Hudson. And the guy had taken like amateur footage, like all footage from 2001 is quite grainy and stuff, but he's filming the building and the plane has crashed into it. And as he's filming, it collapses and he's on the river and it's quite close to the river. So this brave guy with the boat starts going towards, like, there's like a dock, a pier where people get on and off the boat. It's like, mind your step, get on the boat here, this is where you dock. So he actually goes over towards it and there's clouds of smoke like coming towards the boat, like, and towards the river. But this guy's going towards it. He wants to save people. And I saw the most homophobic moment I've ever seen in my life. And I mean in the literal sense. That is, anyway, I'll tell you what happened. So he gets to the dock and he helps three men on. He's like, take my hand, you have to take my hand. And he keeps saying that for some reason, like they knew it was quite obvious, but he's like, take my hand. And it's been recorded and three fellas get on, not a bother. They're like, oh yeah, no problem. And then one fella, he's like, take my hand, and this guy in a suit is like, oh man, I'll be good. And he sees the camera and he's like, I don't want to, you can see that he didn't want to touch his hand. I'm like, is that not the most homophobic man you've ever seen in your life? A building, one of the biggest business financial centres in the world, has just crashed behind him. There's smoke and wreckage behind him, and the smoke is coming closer, ready to engulf him. And he will not take a man's hand to get onto a boat to save his life. He has to get on himself. Because he saw the camera. I saw him looking at the camera. He's like, oh man, I'm good. Like, how afraid do you have to be to look gay? Oh my god. Amazing. But fascinating footage. It was only like 6 or 7 minutes long. I don't know what happened to that boat after. Who knows? But yeah, his life literally could have depended on taking that guy's hand, but he'd rather not look in any way gay. And when I say that's homophobia in the literal meaning, phobia, fear, homo, gayness, I don't know. But yeah. I'd say fair play to him, but I don't know. He should have just taken the guy's hand. But the guy was being very handsy. He's like, come on, you have to take my hand. It was like a test or something, Quite strange. But it was an emergency. Maybe he, like, in his ego, he was like, oh, look, yeah, I want to take my hand. I want to be the one to save you. This guy was having none of it. He didn't want help onto that boat. That's all I got for you guys today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. To all my Apple people, thanks for listening. Spotify people, thanks for listening and watching. YouTube people, thanks for watching. Appreciate you all. Next Tuesday, it's Friday today. Tuesday, great episode for you. So follow so you get updated about it, and it'll pop up on your feed thing. I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'll leave it as a surprise, but very, very funny social media guy with a good niche. He has a niche thing. It's going to be good. You're going to love it. Alright. See you soon, guys. Thanks for watching and listening. This is the Dan Stevens Show. All the best.